Hello and welcome to The Wise Way. I am joined by, now, interesting enough, I've known Zoe for a very long time, but I've never asked her how to pronounce her surname. And as everyone knows, being dyslexic and dyspraxic, I get things wrong. But I'm joined by Zoe Morall, and she can tell me if I'm wrong in a minute, who spent 24 years as a teacher and then left teaching, worked another 2 years as supply teaching, and then really took the brave step, pulled on those brave pants, and launched a business. So, as usual, the show is not about me, it is about my guest. Zoe, please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you very much, Kirsty. Yes, you did say my surname correctly. I'd like Morall is it's hard. It's hard. I used to have a double-barreled name before I got married. So when I didn't have a double-barreled name, I was like, yes, I've got a single name. It's brilliant. But I find it quite, morale, it's hard. But yes, thank you very much for a lovely introduction. I did teach for 24 years in a lovely, lovely school. I was 3 schools in 24 years. And I taught Key Stage 2, 7 to 11-year-olds. And I kind of landed myself in the computing curriculum purely by accident. I'm actually geography trained with science and maths when I did my degree at university. Because I was the youngest there when I joined the school, I took interest in the computer. I was like, oh, what's this new tech? And then, the computer lead went on maternity leave and they said, Zoe, do you want to do it? Oh, my goodness. And that was, I think, the first step into that mindset of, I don't know what I'm doing, but hey, I'm going to learn it. And that has stuck with me all the way through leading computing. And through my career, I did actually try to jump out of computing quite a few times, but the school didn't have anybody else and I couldn't give it to somebody who knew less than me for the benefit of the children and the staff. So I just carried on being the lead of computing. So that's,
And I love that.
That's how my career started and ended.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it because that's where we first started talking, was about tech and our love of tech, because I come from the tech world. And we had this, because not many, a lot of people get scared, particularly women, who get really scared as soon as they see something technical. We're all, as small business owners, desperately trying to be compliant with Google and all the changes, and it's overwhelming. But you cut through that noise, don't you?
I do. I see it as, probably like a lot of other people, oh my goodness, there's a change. What does that mean? But once I'm inside that program and I give it time, I can just figure it out. I don't know I think the mindset of teaching computing and having teachers coming and say, oh, I've got a problem here, I've got a problem there. And I'm thinking in my head, I don't know what to do. But the minute I seem to be inside a program, I can logically work out the next steps to make it work. Sometimes it takes, quite a while, but I can usually get there. I can usually work it out. And that does come from teaching. And there was a program called Scratch, which if you're a teacher, junior school teacher, you're like, oh, Scratch. I had this thing with Scratch. Like, people ask me how to use it, or they've got a problem. It's an animation program, and you build a flow of instructions and something moves. So you have to have that flow right. And I could just seem to work out all these problems. And in my lessons, we're talking 11-year-olds who actually get quite technical and can be quite clever. So the mindset of I can do this has developed throughout my career, definitely, in the terms of tech anyway. Yeah.
And it's inspiring because 24 years as a teacher, and then you go into supply, and now you're running your own business. Could you just talk through that leap? Because it's quite a big decision to leave, to leave, to have life after teaching.
Yeah, it was a big decision. And I left not knowing I was going to leave. So I left in October. I hit overwhelm, was crying in my friend's cupboard, going, I don't think I want to be here anymore. And I've got to stay until December. Because I'd been in that school for years and years and years, the head teacher was absolutely lovely, was a bit shocked, wanted to support me until December. I went, no, I just want to leave. And within like a week, he'd organised, a few interviews to get a teacher to cover the class. I said I would definitely stay there until that class had a teacher that was going to follow through the whole year. I wasn't just going to leave. My heart were in the children, honestly. They were a lovely class, but for me, I wanted to be a mum and I just wanted to leave. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. But what I did know is what I wanted in my life. I knew what I needed my next step to align to, and that was to be a mum, to be able to take my children to school, to be able to pick them up, to have children after school for tea, take them to brownies and ballet and whatever. I wanted that type of freedom for my family, and I wanted to work on my computer. And that's all I really knew. I didn't know what I was going to do. It evolved into, I decided to do something for me. And I thought, whatever I do, I want to enjoy it. So being computer again, I got myself an iPad. I didn't have an iPad in 2019. I didn't have an iPad. So I got myself an iPad and I wanted to learn digital drawing. And a friend told me about Procreate. So I got my iPad, I got a nice pen, got the app, and I started digital drawing. I did that for a whole year. Every evening, I learned the ins and outs of Procreate. And so I was beginning to do online courses, and then Tech Pixies turned up. And I did the social media in 2020, became certified in social media. To be honest, I thought, I don't know if I want to do this, but I think it was imposter syndrome. I wasn't good enough. I didn't know about other industries. I didn't know about online business particularly. I then opened up with my digital drawings. I opened up a Shopify store, a Redbubble store, an Etsy store, and I was playing with tech basically. It wasn't my solution to working from home, but I wanted to learn. I'd heard about these things and I wanted to know how it was done. And then, so from doing the social media, I was actually out at a playground with a friend, and she had a friend, and I was talking to her, and she was talking about TEDx talks and all this. I thought, you are really interesting. She goes, what is it you want to do? I said, I just want to gather teachers around and support them. I said, I don't know how to do it. I have no idea. I said, and I was toying with the idea of starting a Facebook group. And so she said, why don't you? And I thought, yeah, I was scared, really. Despite doing the whole social media certification, I was scared. And I thought, yeah. So I took that leap. And I started Thrive After Teaching Facebook group. That was the name I started it with, and that's the name that stuck, Thrive After Teaching. And it all evolved from there. So from having my Facebook group, I thought, I don't know how to talk to people. Obviously, I do, being a teacher, but I didn't know how to really help in the way of coaching. So I then did a coaching certification. Through that, I learned how to coach, obviously, and I had to set up my own website. I'm thinking, oh, bit of tech, let's learn a bit new tech. Very exciting. But then at the back of my mind, I was for a long time thinking, this is what I actually really am happy doing. Rather than coaching, I thought, I can't, for my personal energy, I'm very introverted. I like having conversations with people, but it does exhaust me. And I love being on my computer, and website design lits me up through and through. So I then did a lovely long journey of a year learning website design on the side of coaching, because I was thinking, no, I'm being a coach. In fact, I spent all this money on a life coaching course that I had to be a coach, But so that now brings me to now doing social media management, life coaching, and website design all in one bubble. So that's my journey.
Yeah, but it's quite interesting because, we all know wiggly careers, particularly mums. And I think, I know there's a lot of dads out there. So let's not say mums, let's say the stay-at-home parent, because it is different. And I've got lots of friends who do choose, who are male, who do decide to be the at-home parent. But when your kid sorry, I shouldn't say kid because they're not goats. When your child goes to school, there is a shift in the relationship because, whilst your child's at nursery, it's okay because you can both work full time, because you can drop your child off at 7:30 in the morning or 7, depending what time the nursery
Yeah.
opens, and you can pick them up at 6, 6:30, and sometimes you can pay extra and pick them up at 7. And so you've still got that working day. Then school comes along, and it's a
Yeah.
massive shift. And I remember it took Dennis and I 2 years to work out what we were going to do, and then we had a bet,
Yeah.
and it was like one of us has got to get a better job. So whoever gets the better job, who's paying the most, that one's going to go and take a job, and the other one will have to work out what they're going to do. It's a massive shift, isn't it?
It is. It is. From nursery, from having those outer hours, which are just there for you, and then they go to school, and actually your day becomes smaller, shorter, and the children want to do things after school. They want, they want their friends around. They want to go and play. They want to go to all these clubs. And I have seen teachers take their children to morning club, and then they go to after school club in the same school, and they are there all day. And I just think my heart was with my children. I said, oh, do you want to go to after school club? I've got piles of, I've got 60 books I need to mark before I go home and get all my resources ready for the morning. And because my children were at the same school that I taught at, which was supposed to be easier, which it was, but they were really good, my children, so good. They would sit in the classroom almost in silence. And they were, at the time, there was 7 and 9, occupying themselves with colouring pencils. I did bring a tablet so they could play something. But they didn't want to go to the after school club. They didn't like the children in there. They didn't really like the lady that was running it, and I didn't have the heart to send them. And that was the push. I thought, I can't do this job. I don't want to do this job anymore. It's too absorbing in my life. And then it's not just, the Monday to Friday. It's actually the Sunday night. It's the job sharing. You're liaising and sending emails and updating the other teacher. And I just thought, this isn't for me anymore. It was perfect for me being a teacher when I was single. I had no children, and I literally spent all day there until 6 o'clock at night, and I could do that, and I did it efficiently. And I still took a few things home, but it's great if you're single.
Yeah, so as you're saying that, I've got a really good friend who's a teacher, and everything you're saying there, and I think people don't realise it. We know teachers work hard. We all work hard. But it's the hours that you work that you're not paid for that I find.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the thing that guts me. I watch her, and I'm sure you were the same. Hours upon hours of your personal, and I know when I worked part-time, I did a lot of hours that I wasn't paid for. But it was my choice, whereas for teachers, it's expected.
It's expected, and you can't not do it. Like, if you don't do your lesson plan, or you don't make that worksheet, or now if you don't make that PowerPoint or presentation, you haven't got a lesson. You can't not do it. You can't not fill out a form for a special needs child. You can't not send an email to a teacher to inform them of something important. You have to do it. I have to do it. And when I left, I was part-time teaching. I was teaching 2 days a week, and I still felt that actually I don't want to do this anymore. I was spending 2 days a week. One day, I remember it was a Wednesday, all day at home working, all day. So I didn't have to do anything on Sunday. I calculated, teachers must never do this, but I calculated my hourly rate when I left. And I was only part-time teaching, £7.
Wow.
I was getting £7 an hour. And I thought, wow, actually, I could go and be a teaching assistant. And even though I'd be bringing home less, I'd actually get paid more per hour. I'm doing less hours. And that was my logic at the time.
So talk about now, because you're in a really, you've got this Thrive After Teaching. You've launched online courses. You're helping people with social media. You're doing web design. I mean, it's a huge shift.
It is a huge shift, but I love being my own boss. I love, my mum said to me last weekend, oh, can I meet you on Wednesday morning? I really want to go to that really lovely shop in your town. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll shift. So every week I make sure I have a clear day. Nothing is planned on one day a week. So I have effectively one day a week off. And believe me, somebody will turn up, somebody will like to go for coffee, somebody will need the doctors, the dentist, or the hospital, or, so I organize my life so I don't work full time officially at home. But the shift is lovely. The shift is like I can be me. I can breathe. I can smile. I can go Zoom calls. It's hard. There's a lot to learn to run your own business, but it's all doable. And people say it's hard. The word hard work, and I know you used it in a phrase, but then you did correct yourself and say, actually, no, it's time consuming. Time. People go, oh, it's really hard work doing your own business. I'm like, no. Teaching 30 children from 8:30, 3:05 is hard work. That is physically hard work. Running a business is time consuming, but it's a different type of work. So it's hard work, but it's time consuming. It's like nice work. So it's easier.
So you've got you've talked about your children, how they inspire you, and you've talked about your mum. Is there anyone else that's come along the way that you've gone, actually, that really resonates with me, and it's made you change something about what you do?
That's a really good question. I think it's that friend of a friend at that picnic bench, and she said, "Why don't you?" I was like, "Yes. Why don't I? Why can't I? I can do it." And it's all a mindset shift of when you leave teaching, and realizing you can follow your dreams, and you do need to go and explore and discover what your thing is. I had no idea on the day that I left teaching I was going to go and be a web designer. I hadn't designed a website ever in my computing curriculum, but I had that mindset of I can. So people along the way, you see them doing things and you learn where they've come from. And especially teachers who are thriving on the online communities, you think, yeah, if they can do it, I can do it. And I've just got to find those steps to enable me to do it. I also have.
But you've also launched a YouTube channel, haven't you?
I do have a YouTube channel, yes. I do everything, social media, YouTube. I'm not scared to get behind the camera. I've got a course that I have, which I'm tweaking now. I'm updating it. I'm pulling it apart to make it better as well. So a bit of course creation in there too.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's really inspirational. I remember when we met, that very first call, and we were all like starstruck and trying to work out where we were going. It's 4 years ago now. And I look at your journey, and I love the wiggles that you've had. I love the fact that you can now help people. So if there was somebody who was listening to this right now, who was debating making that jump to stop being, maybe going to tutoring to even supplement their teaching, their teaching salary. Not that they have any time, but if they did, how would you help? What would you say would be the first step to do? Because you've done this.
Yeah, the first step is community, actually. So get in a community where they are doing the things you want to do. And there's some really good, especially tutoring, there's some really good supportive online tutoring type business Facebook groups. And I'm in there looking at the goodness and the value and the conversation. So if you think about what avenue you'd love to go down or even learn about, like I didn't want to be a tutor, but I wanted to learn about it. I wanted to learn about the teacher's journey of being a tutor. And get yourself in those Facebook groups and join a community. Community has been the number one thing that has helped me discover and explore what I want to do. Without it, you need to speak to people. You need to connect with people. And without any connection and conversations, it's very difficult to actually fathom out where you're going to go or have some coaching. Actually spend money on a coach that can help you narrow down really what you want to do. And, for me, I started with aligning with discovering what I can do that aligns with my lifestyle and my family. and the nature of the work. Like if you want to work from home, then that's a good starting point. At least you know that. You know.
That's really good advice, because if I think about how I got the plan, because I kind of was going to launch and then the pandemic hit, and so I had to delay my launch completely. So I delayed it for almost a year. And actually, during the pandemic, I was out walking, doing my 2 meter distance, unlike the government, kind of slip that one in. Unlike the government, and I would call you out on that, but I was doing my 2 meter distance with my child, and we were talking to other parents, and I was canvassing them on what their issues were with confidence and where they were struggling if they were small business owners, and what was it about social media that they particularly hated. I learned a lot in that time. That I mean, it's old-fashioned market research, isn't it? Stumping the feet. But
probably the
I think that's
best.
really, really good advice there. Hayley has joined us, which is really lovely. I love Hayley. Hayley's brilliant. And she says, if you think you can, you can. How inspirational, Zoe. It's great to hear your journey. And that is the big thing about
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, you did. You did jump into the deep end. You did.
I did.
You looked at that skill set. And I'd like
no
to
idea what I was going to do.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about that burnout moment, that realization that actually you've just reached, because I've been there. I know other people have been there, and recognizing it. If you hear somebody else talk about it, then maybe it can help somebody recognize that they're there right now. So if you just talk a little bit.
It was quite shocking because I didn't expect it. So for me, I was teaching computing, and in the summer term, just 6 weeks, I was put back into a classroom because this teacher's having a baby, and they went, "Oh, we're really stuck. Could you go into a classroom?" I felt quite sad. I thought, I like teaching, I like being in my computer room. I know what I'm doing, but it was really hard. That was really hard, picking up the pieces. Right, lots of things she hadn't done. She didn't expect to have a baby early. She went off. So come September, they also said, "We'd like you to go back in the classroom." And I was like, yes, brilliant. I'd had enough of the computer room. I was comfy in there. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't think I can keep going to that computer room and containing the noise of the children because they're so excited. So I was up for a change. I was really happy. It was year 3, really lovely year group. They're coming over from the infants, everything's fresh and new. So I was really excited, but I hit overwhelm. I literally felt I was a newly qualified teacher suddenly. Loads of things I hadn't been trained up in the last 7 years of not having a class on my own. So it was a learning curve. Like, where do I put the data? Where are the forms for special needs? What does the data even mean? What do all these letters mean? These acronyms and everything else? And I was like, I felt I hadn't been supported, but now I've done a live coaching course, and actually my confidence has grown strangely now I've left the classroom. I would now have the confidence to go, excuse me, I have no idea what any of this means. I need help. But at the time, you just think, oh my gosh, I've been in school for over 20 years. I can't ask for help. And so that was the main thing. I didn't ask for help. The burnout, I didn't realize I was suffering with. So as a teacher, you have all these ailments. You have headaches, you have backache, you have, if you've got top energy, you're doing really well. But I was having headaches, and I only realized afterwards I was having rashes up my neck, and it was only on when I was teaching. I was like having a headache and a rash, and I had no idea. It was my body saying stop, absolutely stop. And then one morning, I was in my friend's cupboard going at like 8:30, going, I don't want to be here. Oh my gosh, I just realized I don't want to be here. And then literally I had to go out of her cupboard and go and greet my 30 children. Hi, hello, good morning. Oh, God, and if anybody said anything, I would just say, oh, I've got a bit of a cold today, my bleary eyes. And it was only afterwards I realized, my headaches and my rash were my body's signaling that I wasn't coping. And I just didn't realize. But yes,
Really, really appreciate you sharing that, because
Mm.
we can all get there and not recognize the signs. I know I've been there,
Mm.
where you're just standing there and you've got tears running down your face, and you're like, why
Yeah.
the hell am I crying? This is
I'm
ridiculous.
crying.
I'm a
Yeah.
big grown woman.
Absolutely. And these feelings just hit you. They just kind of slap you in the face. Like when I left home, I was fine. I actually delivered my children to their classes and their class teachers. And then it was
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to be
I,
here.
I,
I'm going to
I
cry.
can remember. Well, this is, I can remember one day I was walking down the stairs to go to a meeting, and my legs buckled underneath me, and it
Yeah.
was like, this is. And I mean, I just put it down to, I'm just tired. I've driven a long way, because when you're on the road, which is what I used to do, I used to travel, drive up to Newcastle, Glasgow, and then back again the next day. So it was exhausting. So I just put it down to tiredness, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was complete overwhelm and
Mm.
complete burnout. So I really appreciate you sharing it. So this is where the tables get turned, and I have no idea, and you know me too well. So this is always a worry, because we do speak probably at least 3 times a week. So this is where I always worry, because when someone, I don't worry so much when no one knows me, because I can almost guess what the question is going to be. But you get to throw a question at me, and you can see I'm uncomfortable.
Ooh. A nice question, Kirsty. When you turn your computer off, what is it that you do to relax and take your mind off this busy business world?
Great
But
question.
for
Yeah.
you though, not to do with family, because I always go, oh, I'll go and snuggle with my family and I'll watch a movie and I relax because I have to concentrate because I'm with them. But what about you personally? What would you do?
That's a really good question, and a really good question at this moment in time, because it's something that I am really, really thinking about, because
Hmm.
I've just started evenings classes on a Tuesday night to try and learn Spanish to help my daughter with her Spanish
Yeah.
homework.
Mm-hmm.
I did pick up the crocheting the other day, but my head isn't there, so I had to move it all back. The one thing I do try to do is have a bath, and I know that sounds really, doesn't seem
Mm-hmm.
like much.
Yeah.
But I do try to have a bath. But actually, my brain very rarely gets to switch off. And I have had, and I can honestly say this week, I have been told off by my chiro because I am not stopping. And, I just launched the Rock Your Online Presence courses. I'm now launching
Yeah.
an in-person event with Jill Geik. And it feels like I'm on this roller coaster and I'm not getting a chance to step off. So
Yeah.
yesterday I was at an event which was with a business mentor, and my action that I've written down is, I am going to find the time to breathe. Now, I don't quite know what that breathing
Mm-hmm.
is yet, but I am
Mm-hmm.
aware that if I don't get off this treadmill and actually take some time for myself at some point, I am going to
Yeah.
break in two. So,
Yeah.
really good question. I'd love to say that I've got an answer right now. I'm going to say I'm not sure yet. It will
Mm-hmm.
come. But I know that night school isn't for me, because being dyslexic and dyspraxic, I spend most of the time with a bright red face, trying really hard not to
Oh.
feel incredibly embarrassed, because not only
Mm-hmm.
do I have to then learn the Spanish pronunciation and the Spanish way of writing it, I then have to write it the way that I would say it. So I have
Yeah.
three processes that I have to get through before I
Yeah.
can even say dos cientos, por favor. So
Well, that sounds great.
yeah, it didn't it? I'm quite proud of that. But
Yeah.
so I think once I get through that and things have got to slow down, I know we're planning a big holiday this year. I know we're planning that, and it was the holiday we were going to do for my 50th, so I'm quite excited. And that is something
Wow.
that is for me, although it's family, it is for me. But my daughter came in last night because I did something silly in the back of my domain yesterday, and it was a stupid, silly. Actually, it wasn't stupid. It was an error that I knew not to do, but I did it
Mm.
anyway because I didn't check, which is typical of me. And I was getting really stressed out. And she came in and she just put her arms around my neck, because she came in and went, "Can you put me to bed?" And I went, "It's Daddy's turn, and I'm really sorry. I do need to fix this." And she just put her arms around my neck and gave me a cuddle and went, "It'll be okay, Mummy." So that, whether I like it or not, that is that's my alarm bell that things are taking over.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah. When you can't say goodnight to your own child, that
But
is.
yeah, and it was a silly error, and it stopped all.
Yeah.
And I know better because I've done this so many times. And it's worse when you know what you're doing, and then you do it anyway, and you go,
Yeah. Oh,
no,
I do that.
now I've got to work. Anyway, it's all fixed now. Apart from my microphone, so I've now got to reconnect my microphone because the mic is different.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
but that you can do that. You can fix the microphone. That's your biz.
yeah, I know. It's just not in 5 minutes before we go live, right?
No, maybe not.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So, and thank you for your honesty.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I believe in sharing a story because there's other people going through it. So you've got to share it because people think they're alone and they're not. They're not alone. You've just got to find your people. You're not alone. Thank you very much, Kirsty, for having me today.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.